My name's Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday I give you a macro technical analysis video. We go over Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, the dollar. We also look at the S&P futures, the NASDAQ, oil, gold, and silver, and more. So check it out. We're going to look at the macro picture so we don't get caught up in the little time frames. We see what's happening, and we get a big picture idea of what's happening for the week ahead. So let's take a look at Bitcoin first. That's the first thing I always look at, and then we go from there. Huge move for Bitcoin today. It got a big pump. The weekly candle really pumped all the way to the 21 moving average there, and that's what you expect whenever you get away from the 21. You get this pump. We also had a W, but let's take a look at the monthly and let's show you the biggest picture. So once the monthly closed a green candle, it was the first green candle in 5 months, we had to assume that was a tweezer bottom. I opened up a long there with a stop below these wicks. I'm still in that long. That long's actually still paying me very nicely. It was a beautiful pump. We're now at 78,200, and we actually may continue up to 80K. Even today, there's a chance we go up to $80,000. Another thing that I talked about, if you came to this, was there was a swing up here and a swing down here, which is hidden bullish divergence on the monthly. I also pulled the fib from this wick here all the way up to the top wick, and you can see we bounced right off the 786 Fibonacci, which is a known area where we get a bounce, and we did, which was really awesome. So there were some indications that we were going to get a bit of a bounce. I've been talking about it. Their fear and greed was at 5 twice. And every time I've seen that, we've got a bounce. Also, the monthly has breached a trend line. And every time the monthly breaches a trend line, like we've gotten a massive move to the upside, right? And so that's a candle outside of the trend line, 1, 2, 3 times the charm. You can't say it's a guarantee, but I mean, that's, we were speculating this would happen, and it did. Another big thing is the 5 days getting above the 200 moving average. Whenever the 5-day gets above the 200, the last time it did that was the beginning of a monster move for Bitcoin. And so, hey, this could be the beginning of another monster move for Bitcoin too as well. Again, if you look at the 5-day, to me, it's outside of this bigger channel, and it's getting its move to the upside. You look at the daily, and to me, the daily has already breached this trend line. Some people are saying it's in there. I don't think so. It's already outside the trend line. Like, you got to be really adamant. You can't just like skip trend lines, because then you won't be able to touch this middle area. So to me, that is the trend. You broke out. And so the daily looks to me like it wants to head up towards the 200 moving average. Close this gap. It has a huge gap in the VRVP all the way up to about 84,000. We do see some resistance here at about 78, right? Kind of where we're at, because we had previous bouncing here. That's where we had a bullish divergence there at around that $78,000 to $84,000 region. So we could see some resistance here. We're getting away from the 21-day, and that's kind of what we're looking at. You can see there's another daily resistance right there at about 78,900. Looks like we may come tap that area, and that might be where the end of this bigger rally ends up going, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. You want to stay above the 200 on the 22 and the 12 as well. But huge move for the daily. That's really big. Now what I want to see, and again, we were looking for this flag to break out. This is what I was talking about to my trading group. We had a weekly screen share last night. I talked about this breaking out, hitting the move up to about $78,000, $80,000. And so far, we did hit the first target at $78,000, which is pretty awesome. Can we go higher? That's the question we want to see. There's a chance. So what you want to look at now is the 1 hour time frame, even into the 15-minute. And we're starting to kind of flag out here. I would almost kind of do something like this and see if we can flag out even more in the 15 and continue. By the time you watch this, this will likely have played out. We want to see the pump. But you're really going to see that the daily is going to want to pull back at one point or start its flag. So I would watch your daily time frame. And yes, we had a huge pump. Yes, things are looking good. But, at one point, even if we get one more push-up, you think the daily is going to have to come back down here to the 21-day moving average at one point. It's a little too far away. So for me, do we get a bigger move on the smaller time frames? No matter what. But no matter what push we get, I feel like eventually this daily time frame has to chill out. It's going to hit this resistance here at about 78,000. And we'll go from there. But so far, really big push for Bitcoin. The monthly's there. You can see this double bottom too that played out. And I see us, basically for the next week, we either go sideways and continue to push. And when we're here again next week, I say we're either making a flag ready to continue or we have pushed up a little more. So I'm bullish for Bitcoin. I was telling you about this last time. I showed you this cup and handle the last time we were talking. We went over this in depth. I even had the fractal that I went over for you guys that I keep showing. On X2, there it is right there waiting for us. But I found this was the 2022 low, and it looks very similar. December of 22 to January of 2023. They're identical. So far, we're moving up. We've now broken the high that we did last time, just the same way. So So far, so good. This is looking very interesting. And I could even see Bitcoin continue to pump today to 80K. So, we might get one more big push before. And at that point, there is going to be a pretty big pullback. We're getting really far away from the 21-day moving average. But beautiful pump for Bitcoin. I like what we're seeing. I would be taking some profits here. I did on the trade from last night as well. So I like what we're seeing for Bitcoin, but I see either continuation or a flag on the daily. And then next week, we're probably continuing this move to the upside for BTC. Really, really nice to see. I love it. We take a look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency, which is total. And we see that, Bitcoin has a lot of dominance there. So we expected this to break out. Look, this was this idea here. This was this ascending, an ascending triangle. And you're looking for the cup and handle to break out. We were looking for this to pump. We talked about this and we got the pump. Looks like we're going to get a bit of a rejection there at about 2.68. And then we're going to be away from the 21. Same thing for Bitcoin. At that point, we're going to be looking for some type of consolidation here. So it looks like next week is consolidation week. And then even like when I go and I make this macro video a week from now, that's when we initially will get the bigger pump. You see what I'm saying? To the upside. So very interesting, but that's what I'm starting to see for BTC, which is awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. So really, really strong. Same thing. So, and Bitcoin's going to move most of this market and the altcoins. That's what total is made up of. Now we look at total 3, which is the entire market cap of Bitcoin, of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can see a giant double bottom here, right? That says it wants to pump. So, I mean, that's a giant double bottom. You see that on the daily. And it's following suit with Bitcoin. I see this making its move to the 200 moving average. Then we consolidate for the bounce, and then we continue up. I say this is the beginning of a bigger move here for altcoins. And you are also seeing a lot of altcoins move. Like there was some, fun trading altcoins the last couple of days. Way different than we expected in the last year. So starting to really kind of mature this market. Again, we have to get above this high. Bitcoin did this already. Altcoins have to do this now. And it looks like they basically will. Well, what I want to see now is even this weekend, as you can see, like altcoins are following Bitcoin and they're a little bit behind. They're lagging. So Bitcoin got the huge pump. And I just want to see altcoins continue on their measured move here. And so to me, it looks like they're going to kind of punch. And somewhere at about 772, that's when we're going to stall out a little bit and then hang out. But I'm still overly bullish for the altcoins. And I like what I'm seeing here for total 3. This is awesome. This is really, really awesome. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. And, that really should start to bounce first once Bitcoin gets hot. Then you're going to want to see follow through when it kind of gives up some of the price action. But for the most part, we want to see this pump first. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. You get this almost a bit of a flag there. Not perfect. It's kind of more of like a symmetrical triangle. But you're breaching this trend line. And what we want to see is Bitcoin kind of continue to gain steam. 80, 85, and it gets to 90. And we want to see this pump. At one point, around maybe 63, it'll start to falter and the money can flow further into the altcoins. And that's what we're looking for. But right now, Bitcoin, you want to see it really take control on Bitcoin dominance for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then we can get the money to flow into the alts. Same thing here. Look, we were looking for this to double top and dump. It did that. We didn't want to see it go sideways. We want to see it make the M and dump. It did that. Now we want to see this dump to the 200, just like Bitcoin's going to pump to the 200. And that's a beautiful sight. Tether dominance is starting to show signs that it's given up. And that's what we want. This is panning out exactly kind of as we talked about here. Remember, we said we do not want to see it go sideways. It's not a good look. We want to see it break and continue down, and that's what we got. Look at the DXY. And the DXY also struggled off the top of the trend line. And to me, it's making a bear flag. And it's telling us that they're going to cut these rates. When the new Fed chair comes in, they're going to cut the rate. That's going to lower the dollar index, and the XY is going to take a tumble. So I see this happening, folks, and the dollar will go down, and that will help. That'll help risk on assets like Bitcoin in the stock market, and they will pump. They will pump. So that's what I'm looking for. So far, the DXY is following suit perfectly. Take a look at the S&P future. If you remember, I made a crazy call last week saying they're going to continue to pump this market. I said, when I come here next week, remember we were talking about it right here last Friday, right there on the 10th. I said, I believe they're going to continue to pump this. And now look, we're at an all-time high for the S&P right now. Like it's skyrocketing. The only thing is it's a little bit out of context now. It's like you kind of trying to figure out, well, where is it going? Well, you'd say, well, it was in this flag. I guess you could say it was like very sharply placed inside of, this trend line. And now it's just absolutely getting launched to the upside. They're printing a lot of money, all right? And that money's got to go somewhere. Rebuilding Iran, like I feel like we're going to end up making money off of this war in some way, shape, or form. You know, what I see happening, though, is like, you know, it's starting to get a little, I don't know. It's like I've never seen this type of structure. Like last time, at least, when we dipped, you know, I was able to make this idea. But we kind of, this is what we seem to be pumping out of now, these Vs. So we just make these Vs and then we rip out of the Vs. So just like this last V, I see us doing the same thing. I'll be honest, it looks like we're going to continue up. You know, they're going to continue to prop this market. They're going to continue to print. And I just see us continuing to pump, folks. We are going to get away from the 21. There's going to have to be a pullback at one point. So you're looking for the same thing here. I'd look for consolidation on the 1 hour. But I see like throughout the week we go sideways and then we continue to pump Wednesday and Thursday. S&P still looks bullish to me. And then the NASDAQ, same thing. I called the pump on the NASDAQ. If you remember correctly, I said we're likely going to make a move further to the upside here on the NASDAQ. And we ended up doing that. Let me get rid of this here. And we'll look at the daily and the weekly. Why was I so adamant about a pump? Well, I knew they were going to print money over time. I just knew it. And so it didn't make sense that the stock market would dump. You know what I mean? And also it was dumping on fears of war and all this other stuff. And it didn't make sense. It was a lot of fear tactics. Look at this now, all-time high for the NASDAQ. I guess what we'd have to say is this is a bull flag, and it's breaking out the bull flag. This makes more sense to me now. And then you got this long leg. So, like, get ready for this. It's its next leg up. I see a continuation. I don't see this stopping, folks. Same thing here with this. I would flag out the 1 hour. And it looks like, you know, the first 2 days we somewhat consolidate. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, the NASDAQ starts to pump again. All right. And it's telling us that we're just going to continue on this way, right? When we show up next week, which is going to be on, right, today is the 17th. So that's going to be the 24th, Friday. I see us higher, folks. I see we're likely somewhere up at 28,000. So I see more pumping coming. More pump coming. And even, you know, even Bitcoin looks like it wants to continue to rip too. So, hey, you got tax season. You got people getting, you know, all sorts of, you know, checks coming. They're going to put it into probably Bitcoin. And then we have the speculation that they're going to cut the rates with the new Fed chair. That's very, very bullish. We take a look at gold. Is gold going to take this rally on? You know, gold looked like it was going to rally too as well with Bitcoin. They looked exactly similar here. If you look at them on the 1 hour and on the 4 hour like last night, it almost looks like it's actually just a little bit behind Bitcoin. So like Bitcoin got the bigger pump today, and it looks like gold's going to follow. So the dollar dropping is pumping gold, Bitcoin, the NASDAQ, all the risk on assets are getting ready to pump. This is getting crazy here. Yeah, so that's gold. Gold looks good to me. I could see gold just kind of hanging above this trend line, consolidating a bit and continuing to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if gold catches this move up too. And I see bigger consolidation for gold. Do you see this? It's going to come up and down, consolidate, and then likely pump again, like probably sooner than later. But I see it getting up in here, getting tight, and then gold will continue. I see gold actually headed up to about $7,600 an ounce somewhere into, you know, 2027. Same with silver. Silver's catching the move to the upside as well. Beautiful pump for silver. And it just makes sense, man. It's risk on assets, right? And you can see this idea too. And it's above the 200 moving average on the 4 hour time frame with the 21 crossing. Very bullish sign for silver. Again, when silver basically bounced here and didn't lose the daily 200, likely it was going to make this move back to the upside. I see silver making a move all the way back to 114 from here. So, yeah, I see big moves, man, and this is what we could say. I could see that the dollar was weakening. It looked like the bigger macro events were going to happen. I've been more bullish on Bitcoin than most people. A lot of people were calling for bearish moves. I've been calling for a bigger move. So that's kind of our macro technical analysis, right? That's Bitcoin, the NASDAQ, gold, silver. Last but not least, we'll look at oil, too. And oil, you know, it was going to falter. When you look at it, it made a head and shoulder pattern. It fell to the downside, right? And then it started to make what to me looked like a bit of a bear flag. The 4 hour lost the 200 moving average. Once the 4 hour lost the 200 here, you could see it was going to, it was going to go lower, and it did. Now a bit of a bounce, but no, I feel like we're going to make a bear flag here and then continue lower, just like we're going to see a pump. So oil loses more, and we're oil back to $60 a barrel now, and this whole thing kind of calms down with Iran. And that's kind of what we're seeing. It was a great conflict. It did great, but now it's starting to mellow out here, and we're getting back into risk on assets. Thank you so much for watching the Macro Technical Analysis. I do this every single Friday. It's great to track. You can watch it. It's about 50 minutes long, and you can see what we said each week. Track it as we go, and then you say, hey, wow, we did end up where the charts were conveying. And it really isn't my predictions. It's what the charts are telling us. And so far, so good. If you like this type of TA, please watch me every single day, Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday nights. I go Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I do technical analysis. We have a great show, and I entertain you while I'm doing it. It's a podcast type of thing. It's like, you know, you feel really like you're part of the show. So jump on in every single day. I can't wait to see you. Hit the notification bell to find out when I go live again. And yes, I'll see you on the next video.